Hey, what is going on? It is 12 noon on Wednesday, which means it's time for this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Christmas. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time to help you understand the technical side of the real estate industry. And what we're talking about today are the different types of real estate and specializations of real estate that exist out there. So whether you're looking to work in just good old-fashioned residential real estate like most real estate professionals, or maybe you want to get into one of the more specific particular specialties such as commercial, industrial, agricultural businesses, we're going to be talking about what these types of real estate entail, the types of clients it is that you're dealing with in these different types of transactions, because a homeowner is going to have a completely different set of priorities than somebody looking to build a warehouse or a factory. And also how you also find a niche within one of these specializations as well, and what it all takes to work in all these different types of specialization. I'll give it away, there's only one license for it. So we've got a great episode for you today. I'm John Charisma. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Charisma, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern Time, and what we're talking about today are the different types of specializations. Now, your real estate license, a regular sales associate license, or if you're a broker, that works too. But a sales associate or broker real estate license, there's only one type, and that one type of license is going to work for 5 different types of real estate. And those types are residential, commercial, industrial, agricultural, and businesses. So 5 different types of real estate, one license. Your one sales associate license will allow you to work in any one of these different types of real estate, anywhere within the state of Florida. So whether you want to sell houses, shopping plazas, warehouses, farmland, not necessarily the real estate, but typically including the real estate as part of the business. Think of like a gas station or a Subway or some sort of franchise or just any sort of business being bought or sold. That's also considered to be real estate. And your real estate sales associate or broker license gives you the legal capacity to broker any of these types of real estate. So let's talk about some of these a little bit more specifically. We'll start with this first one, residential. This is where there is the highest number of real estate agents, of real estate professionals. Why? Because everybody needs a place to live. It's right up at the top of the list of things it is that we need is shelter. So since everybody needs shelter, we need people to sell that shelter. Because people don't just get one shelter and stay there forever for their entire lives. No. We got to move around every 5 to 7 years according to average statistics. So there's a lot of transactions in residential, which means there's a large demand for real estate professionals as well. So this is where you typically see most realtors, most real estate agents, whatever real estate it is that they do when they're brokering sales, they usually work in residential. Now, you don't necessarily have to be confined to residential, but the whole idea of a specialization is that you're specializing in a certain type of real estate. And while you may have the legal capacity to deal in any one of these 5 types of real estate, do you have the knowledge and know-how to be useful to somebody dealing in these other types of real estate? Residential usually comes pretty natural to most people because we also need a home. We also are somebody who needs a place to live. And we understand to a certain degree, some of us more than others, what makes something a nice home, or something that we would enjoy or that other people would enjoy. So there's almost a degree of common sense to the residential side of things, of just helping people understand what's going to be the best fit for where they want to live, where they want to raise their children, where they want to work from home, where they want to work out whatever it is that's important to them, where they want to garden. That's what they're looking for. The grocery stores in the area, the school districts that it's in, the restaurants, the walking distance from items, the parks, the appreciation rates if we're peppering in a little investment perspective on the typical home buyer. But pretty basic stuff for residential. I mean, yeah, there could be some big things to look out for, but that's why we have inspectors and mortgage brokers and title companies and all these other components of the deal that help make sure all goes well. Now, what about commercial? So commercial, this could entail a lot of different things, and it's pretty much when real estate is being used for a business. Not necessarily that it is a business, but most cases of using real estate for business typically falls under commercial. And the very obvious, very always commercial types of real estate are going to be like office buildings, shopping plazas, shopping malls. It could also include apartments. Now you might say, well, wait a minute, apartments are where people live. Wouldn't we call that residential? Are the owners living in these apartments? No, because with apartments, the idea is that there's a landlord, there's a property owner, whether that's a single person or a larger corporation that owns the property, and then they rent out the individual units to the tenants. So the renting, the leasing of the units would fall under a residential transaction because we're leasing this as for a place to people to live. But if we were to sell that entire apartment community, that would be considered commercial real estate because the people buying that apartment community are not doing so to live there. They're doing so more so as an investment. So pretty much always, really any one of these types of real estate are going to be an investment. But the residential side, that a lot of times is more of a necessity, or again looking for that shelter or the things that are, more emotional type of purchases, whereas these types of items down here tend to be a little bit more numbers oriented, a little bit more calculative types of transactions. Because every single one of these, the owners will probably not be happy if they don't have a return on investment. Matter of fact, they don't want to lose money. And somebody doesn't want to lose money on their home either, but at the end of the day, even if you are losing money on your home, it's still your home, and if you're still happy with it, there's people that throw away money every single day on a lot of things just because they enjoy them. A swimming pool is a great example. A swimming pool, most of the time you're going to spend more money putting in a swimming pool than that you're going to return in value added to your property. And that's just because swimming pools can be really expensive to put in. And yes, they do increase the value, but usually not as much as it costs to put them in. But at the same time, people knowing that will still put in swimming pools, not because they're doing it for an investment, but because they like it. And people will do that when they're buying it for their home. Whereas in these categories down here, that's not as much of an occurrence. That really doesn't happen as much because again, it is more about the numbers, the investment, the ROI, the return on investment. And so when we're dealing with commercial, again, that's one of the main concerns. Now, when we get into more specific types of commercial, again, we could branch these off into, I would say, at least 3 very distinct types of commercial. You have apartments, which is the closest to residential, but that's only because we're going to be reselling the units in the form of leases as residential. But again, buying the entire apartment complex, that's going to be considered commercial. Yeah, we'll call this retail, actually. Shopping and retail. Shopping and retail, another type of commercial real estate. And then you also have office. real estate. Similar to the commercial retail, but with some differences. Now, as a commercial real estate agent, can you deal in all three of these? Absolutely. But an investor in apartments who is going to be a repeat customer is probably going to repeat with more apartments as opposed to offices or shopping or retail. Sometimes people like to diversify what it is that they have, but when they know something, when they understand something, because these are different. Running a profitable apartment is completely different than running a profitable shopping plaza or a profitable office building. So because these are so different, an investor usually is going to want to double and triple down on the same category here, so it would behoove you to become an expert in one of these categories here if whichever one matches up the most with your potential clients. So look, I'm going to talk a little bit more about commercial, but we're also going to go into industrial, agricultural, and businesses. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. This one's especially for you guys studying for your real estate exam. Stick with us. I'm John Christmer. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
Real estate exam to bring you the most powerful exam study tool available. In the question simulator, you'll be able to go directly to a particular unit so you can focus on the sections where you need the most practice. We have also included the percentages of each unit so you know which units are the most important for your real estate exam. Every question will immediately give you detailed feedback, which is almost always more important than the question or the answer themselves. After completing all the questions in a particular unit, you can go through question by question and review any that you've gotten wrong. You could also print out a report at the end of each quiz. The question simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate is 100% mobile compatible, so you can practice with test questions anywhere you have your phone with you. Enroll now at questionsimulator.com and get ready to pass your exam.
Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Christmer. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern Time. And what we're talking about today are the specializations of real estate. And if you are studying for your real estate exam, this is a good thing to know for your exam, is these 5 categories of real estate. But what we're going above and beyond with today is dealing with the specifics of each of these different types of real estate. Because within these different categories, there's different types of real estate. And with residential, let's rewind back to residential. There's a lot of different types of residential. We have single family homes for just single 1 unit properties on their own lot. But then on top of that, you also have land that's zoned for residential. But then on top of that, you might also have somebody that might buy multifamily for kind of a hybrid purpose of residential and commercial. Maybe they're buying a duplex. You could also have where people are buying maybe a condo or a townhome. Or maybe waterfront properties or golf course properties or lagoon properties, or you could even further specialize by focusing on certain geographic farm areas. There's a lot of ways to split up this residential and dice this up further and further. And any one of these markets, there's going to be competition. There's going to be other people that can do exactly what you can do. You are not going to be the one real estate professional in any one category, no matter how specific you really get yourself to be. But the more specific you make yourself, the more specialized you become. Notice how those words are similar: specific and specialization. Specific, specialization. Very similar, because having a specialization means you deal specifically in a certain something. Certain type of real estate. So which type of real estate is it that you're dealing with? Now, for most people, that's going to be residential. And that's okay. That's okay that most people gravitate towards residential because that's where there is the biggest demand for real estate. and the biggest demand, therefore, for real estate professionals, especially in residential, because homeowners are going to be the least prepared to conduct a real estate transaction. Whereas when you get into some more of these more professional types of real estate, you're dealing more with professionals who might buy and sell this type of real estate on a regular basis, and so therefore they need you less. There's a higher standard, there's a higher minimum, there's a higher prerequisite that they're looking for, because they don't need you to just have a real estate license. They need you to actually contribute to the transaction in a meaningful way. And that's very easy to do when you're dealing with the average home buyer or home seller that doesn't know much about real estate at all. But when you're dealing with somebody who buys many apartments or buys multiple investment properties, or when we're talking about industrial, this is going to be like warehouses and logistics centers, the shipping and fulfillment. There's a lot of that expanding right now because of the ever-growing transition to buying things online and getting things delivered as fast as humanly possible. A lot of transportation, whether it is at an airport or rail transportation or a marina, a port. That would also be considered industrial property. You also have factories. And kind of comparing the differences of these, what's important in these capacities here, well, number one, they want cheaper land. Industrial needs to be cheaper land. But this isn't where somebody's living, so it doesn't necessarily need to be a desirable location. But especially when we're talking about warehouses and logistics centers, they want to be close to people. This is where you see Lakeland, for example, in Florida, has grown a lot. And there's a huge increase in industrial property. Lakeland has a long time been an industrial corridor between Tampa and Orlando. There's a lot of warehouses that distribute goods to both the Tampa and Orlando markets, and it's a very centrally located area. Land was cheaper because it wasn't as populated as Tampa and Orlando, but now over the years, Lakeland has grown into a much more blossoming area because of that growth of industrial property. Transport, if this is water transportation, if this is through some sort of port, then obviously being close to water would be important, but again, it doesn't necessarily need to be a desirable location, because if this is like beach property, well, that's going to be super expensive, and that's not going to be cost effective to use that to bring ships in and out of. And as we get more and more particular with these specializations, you could see more and more as more detailed questions start to unfold. And now you start to kind of see the big differences and how it could be really difficult to just call yourself a realtor that could do everything. You might have heard the phrase before, a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And this is a perfect example where if you try to be the master of all these categories here, you won't be. And you'll struggle through transactions by trying to push yourself through a warehouse deal where you know nothing about warehouse real estate. Now, if you want to deal in these different types of specializations, there's trainings out there. There's brokerages that specialize in these different types of real estate. But bear in mind that these other types of real estate are going to be even more competitive than residential. Residential might seem like it's going to be competitive because there are so many real estate agents that work in residential, but at the same time, there's infinitely more people that need a home than there are Amazons that need a warehouse, than there are fertilizer factories that need land. And this isn't real estate that often gets bought and sold again and again and again and again for a lot of this stuff, whereas residential has a much shorter life cycle. We're talking 5 to 7 years, where some of these businesses might be setting up shop and might be carrying ownership for 10, 15, 20 years, maybe even longer. And again, the demand is going to be for a much higher skilled type of person, because you're dealing more with professionals as opposed to just dealing with consumers. So look, we still have agricultural and businesses to cover, but we're going to take a quick commercial break. Stick with us. I'm John Christopher. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Are you studying for your Florida real estate exam? If you are, you need to check out our Pass First Try strategy. You're going to love this. It's 4 steps that we break down the process to study for your Florida real estate exam. So you're set up to pass your Florida real estate exam because that's what you're studying for, right? To pass your exam. It's 4 steps. Number 1, you learn the information. You've got to learn this to be able to pass the exam, but it doesn't stop at learning. Step 2, you've got to reinforce the basic, simple, key concepts. As you learn this information, keep reviewing the simple things. You don't need to know everything, but you got to review these basic key concepts. Step 3, you've got to test your knowledge. The exam's going to test your knowledge, so if you don't test your knowledge in advance, you won't find out if you know what you think you know until you take the exam. And then step 4 is be confident and prepared, because even if you know this material, you need to be confident that you know the material. Check out the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com. Are you studying? Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Christopher. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. What we're covering today are the different types of real estate and the specializations that exist within these different types of real estate. And again, the importance of having a specialization is that you are able to be the best for your clients. You're able to stand out from your competition by having a special skill set that not everyone has. Anybody with a real estate license has the capacity to say, I could sell any one of these types of real estate. Anybody with a real estate license has that legal capacity to work in any of these different categories of real estate. But if you want to build a business within one of these categories of real estate, that's really where you want to get specialization. Look, if you do pick up a deal here or there for a warehouse or for an office building or a shopping plaza or apartments or anything like that, I'm not saying to turn down that business. If you've got the time, money, and energy to do something out of the ordinary, I would recommend you push yourself out of your comfort zone and power through that transaction. But if you really want to build a business out of this, you've got to choose. You've got to choose where you want to focus your attention, where you want to be intentional about your efforts to move yourself, your career, your business, your investment you're making in this whole thing, move that forward. Agricultural might be the answer. Look, if you there's a lot of agricultural property in Florida, and there's a lot of people that know about agricultural property, that understand what's important in agricultural properties. Now, those people usually don't work in real estate, but some of those people do. And if you have some experience, some knowledge really about any of these different types of specializations, that might be your sign to pursue this a little bit further and figure out how you can further expand your expertise on that particular topic. You know, agricultural, this is your farmland, your farm and ranch land. And this could be for growing some sort of crop, whether that's citrus or strawberries or maybe some sort of vegetables, or as you can tell, I don't deal in agricultural real estate. It could be for meat. It could be for just housing horses or whatever the case may be. It could be for raising eggs. I don't know. I'll stop just mentioning the things I can imagine of singing like Old MacDonald had a farm here. Obviously, I am not a specialist in agricultural property. Now, I am a licensed real estate broker in Florida, so I have 100% capacity to sell your farm. I just need you to be the person that knows everything about the farmland stuff, because I really don't. And look, if this is just like your home and the farm side of it isn't that serious, matter of fact, residential property includes agricultural property up to 10 acres. So if your property is 10 acres or less, even if you have some farmland on those 10 acres, that's still considered residential. But once we start getting beyond that, once we get beyond 10 acres, that's where we fall really more so into the agricultural realm, at least by the law's definition of it, once we're above 10 acres. But more so for the clients. They're probably not going to want to hire me not knowing anything about agricultural. You ask me what type of dirt the property has, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's some different types of dirt now that you mention it. Good thing to know if you're specializing in agricultural real estate. Because, maybe that dirt affects the drainage or affects the nutrient profile or all kinds of things like that would be important depending on whether somebody's trying to raise cattle or grow strawberries or orange trees or something like that on this land. So that's the type of information that's important. If you've got somebody that wants to buy a home for them and their spouse and their newborn child, they probably don't care what type of dirt is in the yard. As long as it's not going to hurt or kill any of them. As long as it's dirt, okay, cool. But if this is farmland, that's going to be a different story. And then we have businesses. And businesses typically include real property as well. But they don't necessarily have to. If you want to sell a business and this is an online business. So let's say your friend has an online business, no physical anything. It's an online business that sells like ebooks or something like that. And there's nothing physical whatsoever. It's all 100% completely digital. Well, within the state of Florida, that is still considered real estate. Now, that example would more so be out of the ordinary. Now, granted, there are a lot of online businesses that grow today, but most businesses typically involve some level of, at the very least, an office, some sort of office space, if not to house products or to base services out of, or to store items, or just to coordinate it all. There's usually some sort of physical real estate involved. And even if there's not, Florida law assumes that there is some sort of physical real estate involved. Now, again, there's a different set of priorities. I mean, really, everyone's going in business for this, return on investment, ROI, so that's going to be pretty similar to really any one of these categories, because even the homeowners, they want to make some return on their investment when they go to sell their property in a couple years, in 5 to 7 years on average. But businesses, we're taking that now to another level, because who would buy a business that's not currently or in the future able to produce income? And really, again, any one of these categories is going to be more important with numbers, but especially businesses, because businesses are almost exclusively about the numbers. I shouldn't say exclusively about the numbers, but the numbers do tell the story of the business. And there's fact-checking, there's due diligence, there's reviewing and understanding what these numbers mean. It's not just getting the numbers, but really digging into the numbers to understand what those numbers mean and what story that they tell. Now, if you're sitting here and you're talking to me and you're saying, John, how are you going to tell me numbers tell a story? Well, in that case, business real estate brokerage is probably not for you. But if you're like the accountant type of person and you're like, yes, numbers, they do tell a story, well, that might be where you might thrive in business brokerage. Because when you go to sell a business, you have to basically document and provide evidence of this business's success and the money that goes in and out and that it could potentially generate. And granted, that's a lot of what an accountant does, but now how do you speak to these numbers? How do you relate that information to broker the sale and make the sale actually go through and facilitate that transaction? So how do you become the expert in conveying this information, this more technical information, in a business sale? So hopefully that helps give you a better idea of the 5 different types of real estate: residential, commercial, industrial, agricultural, and businesses. Because when you get a real estate license, you could work in any one of these categories here. And any one of these categories has their own subcategories where you really want to dig a little bit deeper and find yourself a niche to specialize in within these areas here, so you could become known as the specialist in whatever particular specialization, any particular niche that you have, and that'll help you attract people to you. If you're trying to be everyone's everything, they're going to say, oh, that's the guy that doesn't know the dirt. Or this is the guy that doesn't understand this super advanced conveyor belt technology. Or this is the guy who doesn't understand cap rate for apartments, or this is the guy that doesn't understand the accounting statements for a business. You don't want to be that person, because you're not going to be able to attract people in that realm. Like I said, you come across a deal from one of these categories, from somebody that trusts you, that knows that you'll do whatever it takes to make sure they're taken care of and everything is taken care of and it's done smoothly. Well, yeah, pick up that business if you're willing and able to do so. But when it comes down to building your business, you want to build something that attracts people to it. Because remember, that's what's most important. Your business is not a business without customers, so you need to attract customers to it. And the more you can further specialize your business, the more you'll stand out amongst your competition. When you stand out amongst your competition, that attracts people to you. So we're going to take one more quick commercial break. Stick with us. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, so if you're thinking about starting a real estate career, it could feel a little overwhelming sometimes. Look, that's completely understandable. That's why we're here to help. If you haven't already, check out our Success Center, tampaschool.com/success, or if you don't even know where to begin, give us a call. We'd love to help you out. We've got advisors standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way it is that we can. Our phone number is 813-928-0106. Again, that's 813-928-0106. Give us a call. We're the Tampa School of Real Estate.
Do you want a career that allows you to be in control? With a career in real estate, you'll get to call the shots. Whether you're looking at starting part-time or want to become the next top agent, a career in real estate makes it possible. Find out what it takes at tampaschool.com. Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Chrismo with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can. Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Chrismo. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern Time. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell icon so you don't miss out on any of the videos that we post every single week. We've got a lot of videos that we put out to give you all kinds of information to help you not just start a real estate career, but take your real estate career to that ultimate level that you desire. Because that's how we succeed here at the Tampa School of Real Estate. We succeed by helping other people succeed. If we're a real estate school of a bunch of people coming in here and never doing anything with real estate, well, they're not going to say good things about real estate, which won't lead them to say good things about us. Because if real estate is a big old farce, then why would you want to go to school for it? Look, there's a lot of money that can be made in real estate if you know what you're doing, if you have the right direction, the right guidance, so that way you can seize the opportunities as they're in front of you. You probably have so many opportunities that are right under your nose every single day that you don't even realize because you're not yet trained to even understand what those opportunities are for. So real estate is just one vehicle to achieve success, but it's something that if you do the right things, you will achieve success. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So if you're interested in learning more about a real estate career, check out some of our videos. We've been posting videos literally for years on a daily and weekly basis for years. So we've got hundreds, if not thousands of videos that teach you more about real estate, that go deeper than what's covered in our pre-licensing courses. And we've been putting out all this content because we want to help people succeed in real estate, whether you've started with Tampa School of Real Estate or not, which is why we just put this stuff out on YouTube and Facebook and anywhere it is that you can watch us. So help us out and keep us going by liking and subscribing. Make sure you like whatever videos it is that you want to see more of, because that's how we figure out what content to push out more of to give you guys the information that you need. So let us know, and if you're ready to get started with a real estate career, call us 813-333-2676. It can seem like an overwhelming process, but if you take it one step at a time, it's really not. So let us guide you through this process one step at a time. We've got the whole process broken down for achieving your real estate license, to starting with a broker, to building an entire real estate career and business. So if you're interested in getting started today, we have the courses to help you prepare to really achieve greatness in real estate. It starts with a pre-licensing course, then you got to pass your exam, then doing post-licensing for your first renewal, and then doing continuing education for as long as you have your real estate license. Real estate is a business of lifelong learning because it's constantly changing, but this lifelong learning and constant change is constantly creating new opportunities, because people that are not willing to change will fall victim to that change as new agents come in that take advantage of the changes that occur. So there's always new opportunity arising in real estate, and especially in the residential side of things, as long as there's a population increasing on planet Earth, which historically it's pretty much always increased, and as long as there's people that want to move to Florida, there will be a demand for real estate. And even if the population wasn't increasing, every 5 to 7 years, people are selling their houses, according to national statistics, maybe even sooner than that. And you factor in referral fees, you factor in all the different ways it is that you can make money. There's so many opportunities that exist in real estate. So get your real estate license, even if you don't want to use it right now, so that way when one of these opportunities presents itself to you, you're ready to go to snatch and seize that opportunity right there in the moment. That you can maintain the momentum that you've generated by getting licensed and being ready and able. So if you stumble across a real estate deal, you've got to get a license and you could go and assist them. If you want to find out more about working part-time in real estate or making the jump into full-time, we've got a lot of videos on that as well. But call us up. We can help point you in the right direction. 813-333-2676. We have advisors standing by. Again, that's 813-333-2676. You can also check us out online at tampaschool.com. Again, that's tampaschool.com. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Have you completed your post-licensing education yet? Look, I know you're probably thinking, hey, it's not my renewal deadline, I don't need to do post-licensing yet, but look, here's why you want to do post-licensing as soon as you've got your real estate license, as soon as you're able to take post-licensing. It's not just another course about arbitrary laws that you're never going to use again. It's about real-world, usable topics that'll help you grow your real estate business, to help you take it to the next level. Look, let me ask you this one question. If this course helps you close just one deal, if you get one extra deal from post-licensing, is it worth the investment? I'd say it is. We get paid pretty well, so one deal means a lot of money. Check out postflorida.com. That's postflorida.com for the full details about post-licensing.